Hi.
Hello there.
We've got a couple more movies.
Another week, not a full week. We have a few less than normal, but that's alright. We can get into a little bit more detail.
Absolutely. It's Oscar season. We're busy. I have a job now.
All kinds of things going on.
But always time for at least a couple movies.
Always.
So if we want to get into it, the first one was Rental Family. That was from last year. It was kind of in the awards conversation at the beginning, but it dropped off pretty quick. It didn't win anything at TIFF. And I think after it didn't win anything at TIFF, people stopped predicting it as much.
Starring Brendan Fraser. He is in Tokyo, Japan. I thought this was a very interesting movie. Interesting setup. What'd you think of it?
I agree, because that is a real thing that sometimes happens.
Which I had no idea
is
about that.
The American will get hired essentially to just be an American, like doing something. Like one of his first jobs with the rental family company was, you're gonna play sad American at this guy's fake funeral.
In the first funeral, the guy actually wasn't even dead. He was pretending to be at his own funeral, as I understand it, just to see, I think, everyone who would miss him.
Yeah, it seemed to really renew his lease on life. So,
Hey, fair enough.
good for him.
Good for him.
And then, of course, we see Brendan Fraser, who, honestly, I don't remember what his character's real name was, because he went by so many different names in this movie, because he's playing a lot of different fake people. But he almost gets cold feet at the beginning. He's hired to, like, fake marry a woman to make her family happy. And he's like, it's lying. I can't do it. It's like, dude, she asked for this.
He definitely has some reservations about this kind of job going in, but I think he quickly learns how important it can be for people.
Yeah, I personally don't care if that woman lies to her probably homophobic family.
I do think he should have vetted some of the jobs he was taking as a rental person to see how he would feel about it, I guess, morally. Because as we see, the main job he gets is pretending to be a little girl's father, and the little girl doesn't know better at first.
Which, let me tell you, it immediately made me think of Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal.
Very similar, yes.
Where the little boy actually thinks Nathan is his dad because the little boy doesn't understand acting.
He just got a little confused is all.
I'm waiting for that little boy's big expose when he turns 18.
Oh, I'm sure he has plenty of details.
But unlike Brendan Fraser helping out the lesbian couple by getting their homophobic family off their back, I do think this job was morally vague,
Yeah, I don't know who thought this was going to be a good idea or was going to work out, but Brendan Fraser is pretending to be, this little girl's maybe like 6 or 7, something like that, maybe even a little bit older. Not like a young child who may not remember the person later in life. She's old enough to know that she doesn't have a father in her life, and when this guy just randomly shows up, she's very upset.
It seems like the mom wants him there so that he can go to the interview so the girl can get into this really nice school.
Oh yeah, it's all about trying to get her daughter into school because she needs her father there, I guess, or it looks better to have.
Well, and then again, I think it's that whole, oh, look, an American. It almost felt like it was a status symbol for some of these people.
Absolutely.
And I just really, like, I get if you need the dad to be there so that you look good for the school. I think it's stupid, but I get it. But why wouldn't you just tell your kid that he's an actor? Like, why does she need the kid to think that that's her actual father? I think the reason they gave was so it'll be more believable, but that kid seemed smart enough to be able to fake that a little bit,
And that's what I was getting as well. If they had just been honest up front, no one would have run into any of the issues that they find themselves in later in the movie.
Exactly, because this is the kind of thing that's going to traumatize that kid for life.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, Brendan, you stood there and made a pinky promise with her. You said you would swallow needles if you ever left her. And
Very specific for some reason.
you did all of that knowing full well what was going to happen. And then, just one of the worst decisions ever, he gets offered a TV show. He turns it down.
Right, because he's in Tokyo, as we've established, but he gets offered a recurring role in a show. I believe they said it's in Korea.
Yeah, it's like a detective show.
That he had been going after for a while. Because Brendan Fraser's character is like a working actor, I think. He had one big commercial that took him to Japan, and he just kind of has stayed ever since.
Exactly. He probably gets some decent royalties from that,
Right.
but is now,
Looking for work a lot of times.
Yeah, he's a struggling actor. It's hard to find roles. And then you finally get what sounded like the role of a lifetime, and you turn it down. He didn't even need to tell the kid that he was going to leave indefinitely. He could have just said, hey, I've got to go work for like a month in Korea. I'll call you. Bye. Take the job. Because the kid found out he was an actor anyway from seeing him on TV as a pirate or something.
They really overlooked that. Yeah, he just shows up on TV regularly anyways. Of course she's going to see him at some point.
Exactly. I don't think this was a good idea on
Not
the
at
mom's
all.
part.
Not at all.
And you know what? Brendan Fraser, he was old enough. He should have known better. He should have just taken the TV show.
The little girl really was the most mature one in this little grouping. She was very upset at first, but I think she kind of learns to accept the situation as when he's found out. Brendan Fraser kind of explains himself, and she's obviously not very happy, but he's still, I guess, a friend to her, even though she knows he's not her actual father.
Yeah, I think there was a real parallel there between the little girl and Brendan and the actor that he was going and seeing and talking to, which he told the actor he was a journalist and used another fake name. I never quite picked up, was that a job, or did he just really want to go talk to the actor, hone his improv skills, and so he made it up?
From my understanding, it was a job. The daughter of this actor, this retired actor, didn't want him to feel kind of isolated and alone. So they hire Brendan to pretend he's a journalist to hear this guy's story, is what I understood.
That makes sense, but like, girl, you can ask your dad about his story.
Yeah, just do it yourself.
Of course, I will say, look, this guy didn't seem like a great dad. He was being a real Jay Kelly, if you know what I mean.
He was.
Even at the end, when he wanted to go to his childhood home, Brendan's like, well, why don't you let your daughter take you? And he doesn't want to open up to her. So it's like he doesn't even want to be fully honest with his daughter, and I didn't like that.
And they show that this older actor, he's dealing with maybe some dementia issues, something like that. He gets confused. So I think maybe part of his motivation was, my daughter knows about my health issues. I don't want to upset her or freak her out by going out on a trip with her. Right meaning, but wrong actions, I think.
I guess he did collapse on the trip, and it seemed to me like he went to dig up this time capsule that had photos in it. They didn't really explain who the woman was, but I assumed she was maybe a girlfriend.
Yeah, old friend or girlfriend from before he was really an adult and had moved to the city.
Maybe he didn't want his daughter to feel weird about that, because it seemed like he for sure still loved her.
As far as I could tell, yeah.
They didn't really explain much about the daughter's mother.
I don't think she was mentioned at all, no.
Yeah, if she was dead, or I kind of assumed since he was a famous actor, he either never married the mother or like had a messy divorce.
Quite possible, yeah.
But I did think that Brendan's friendship with him paralleled the little girl's friendship with Brendan. Because loneliness was a real theme for him. And it's like, well, he was able to go and befriend this older man who wasn't his relative or anything, but he was still able to have respect for him and learn from him and then like go to his funeral and everything. And I feel like now that's what Brendan's gonna be for that little girl.
Exactly. And in the story, we never hear anything about Brendan Fraser's, like, if he has a family or a wife or kids or
I
anything.
don't think he does.
Yeah, he's
He
just
talked about his mom and that she's dead, and his dad was kind of a deadbeat.
he's just working alone and living alone in Tokyo. So he's definitely searching for those deeper connections with people, and I think this is one of his outlets.
I agree. And I did actually like the way that they were talking about religion in this movie, which I usually don't care for. But he's talking with the old man actor, and the actor's like, well, do you pray? And he says, no, I haven't prayed since I was 15. I just didn't see the point.
Exactly, yeah.
Which I totally get that. But then the old man is like, well, essentially, God isn't Sky Daddy up in heaven or anything.
Right.
God is in the earth and in every living thing and in people, and he's even in you. And so then at the end of the movie, when he goes to the shrine and prays a little bit, and then the curtain kind of pulls back and he's looking at his reflection.
Right, in the altar, it wasn't any kind of mural or statue. It's just a mirror showing the person who's praying.
Exactly.
I thought that was neat.
It's like, oh yeah, the like God or the concept of God, it's in him, just like it's in everyone else and in nature and all that fun stuff. We had the pretty tree. It was, I liked that interpretation of God and religion.
Did you see if they shot on site in Japan and Tokyo in the credits? I must have missed that, but
I'm sure they did, but let me
it's a pretty movie.
fact check.
You see a lot of Tokyo and just kind of everyday life. It was interesting to see. Definitely would love to go to a city like that one day.
Yes, this was filmed in Japan.
Very nice. And Brendan is speaking Japanese a lot of the time. It kind of switches between English and Japanese a lot, depending on who's speaking. But I think he did a great job. That must have been very tough to learn.
I do too. I never thought he sounded weird. And I don't speak Japanese, so maybe someone who does speak Japanese would have something different to say.
Hey, he speaks it better than I do.
But I didn't notice him sounding off or awkward or anything. I did wonder multiple times throughout the movie, though, why he was speaking in English to people, because we established that he does speak Japanese. So you're in Japan, you're talking to a Japanese person, that's their primary language. Why are you not speaking Japanese? And then why do all of these Japanese people who know him and know he speaks the language start talking to him in English?
I never understand in movies, yes. They switch back and forth sometimes. I don't speak another language, so maybe that's more common than I realize. But I also thought when he first meets the little girl, he, I believe, starts in Japanese, but they switch to English pretty quickly. And I figured that must be very confusing for this little girl who now thinks this man is her dad. She doesn't know what language to address him in.
Yeah, I guess what the movie was going for is we're not supposed to think about it too much, and that,
Yeah.
well, you know, Brendan Fraser, he speaks Japanese a little bit in this movie, but we're not going to have Brendan Fraser have to fluently speak Japanese throughout the whole thing. That was probably the thought process, but I did think about it multiple times. It wasn't something I could just turn off in my brain, especially now when we see so many foreign films and TV shows and everything. I do think streaming has really opened that up. Whereas, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, all of the media that was presented to us was essentially in English.
That's true.
But now, even a show that is really marketed here in America, like Shogun, right? That whole thing was essentially in Japanese because it was set in Japan. That makes sense. But I think if that show had been made, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, I think the whole thing would have been in English and we would have just had to assume that they're speaking Japanese.
Yeah, or at least mostly in English. I understand that.
Yeah, but now that's like a weird concept because
More authentic now.
exactly. And, there's more actors to pull from, there's better access to things from other countries. So, yeah, it does feel weird to kind of Englishify everything, if that makes sense.
Was there anything that you disliked about this movie?
Look, this wasn't my favorite movie. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was great. I just don't know if this is the kind of movie that I gravitate toward. It's a very heartfelt,
Yeah, it's about family and kind of philosophical sometimes.
it's like
Tugs
an
at your
elevated
heartstrings.
Hallmark movie.
Which doesn't mean it's bad. It's not a
No.
bad movie at all. I think Brendan Fraser is great in this. He gives a
Oh,
stellar
yeah.
performance. And the little girl, whatever her name is, was great.
Mia, that was her
Mia.
name.
I think in the story, some of the character motivations and methods are definitely questionable, but I think they just kind of go all together to get you where the plot is going.
Yeah, and we did get to see a little bit of Brendan Fraser's new friends who work at the rental family place. But while I did like those characters, I never thought they got super fleshed out.
Not too much, no.
The one gal was doing the apology service where
She kept pretending to be the other woman when a husband was caught cheating, so he didn't have to reveal the actual mistress he was cheating on his wife with.
exactly.
So she gets slapped a couple times,
and I
or at least
thought
once.
it was so funny that the husband would always be like, "She threw herself on me. It's not my fault." Ah, yes, because you don't have the power to say no. Like, what?
Exactly.
And yeah, she ends up kind of changing that whole process at Rental Family. They don't do apology services anymore.
Yeah, everyone sort of learns their lesson
Even
by
though
the end.
we established apology services were the biggest seller at Rental Family, and I never really got an indication that the guy who owns the company has really changed significantly.
Maybe not.
All we learn is that the family we had been seeing him go home to, which this was not a shocker to me at all, was a rental family.
That was pretty funny.
And he kind of gets dressed down by his employees, but we never see him have an aha moment about morality and this stuff. So I just didn't totally buy that he would leave all that money on the table.
True, yeah. I didn't think this was a bad movie at all. It's more of I don't know what you would call it, a subtle tone throughout. It's not action-y really or anything like that. It's about people and relationships. Definitely, I think one of Brendan Fraser's it was a really good performance. Yeah, I think that covers a lot of how we feel about this movie.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser is excellent, and I want to see him in more stuff.
Me too. Got his Oscar, baby.
He does have his Oscar. I didn't like The Whale, but I liked Brendan in The Whale.
Did you like this movie more?
Oh yeah, this is a better movie than
Okay.
The Whale. The Whale movie desecrated the play, in my opinion.
Got it. Yeah, not bad. I would say this is definitely a worth the hype movie. I'd give it maybe like a 70.
Yeah, let's see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. Okay, so this has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not bad.
I think that's a little overhyped for me because
Really?
I'm probably sitting in the 70 range as well.
Okay.
So that's almost 20 points over. But I do get why a lot of people would like this movie. The audience score is 96%.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, this is a crowd pleaser.
For sure. I thought the setting was really neat. It was a unique concept. We'll see what happens in the sequel. All right. What else did we watch?
So next we watched our 2026 release of the week. 28 years later, the Bone Temple.
We've been looking forward to this.
I was so excited for this because, and I don't think this is the most popular opinion, but when I watched 28 Years Later, my favorite part of the movie was when the gaggle of Jimmies came parkouring in, because I love stuff that is just wild.
It was from completely out of left field, I agree.
It was like a bunch of anime characters just infiltrated this pretty somber movie. And I was all in, and I love Jack O'Connell, and
He's been having a good couple years.
he has been. And yeah, I was really excited when I heard that this sequel movie was, one, going to be about the Jimmies, and two, was going to be directed by Nia DaCosta, because one of my favorite movies last year, and I believe one of yours too from what we've talked about, was Hedda.
Oh, love Hedda, yeah.
Hedda was so good. It knocked my socks off. And the direction was so good. And I think Nia DaCosta has gotten the short end of the stick a lot these past few years. I know Marvel and Disney didn't treat her very well because she did that Marvel's movie.
Okay.
And they love to blame the female director when they do all this studio interference and their movie doesn't do well. They did the same thing with Oscar award-winning director Chloe Zhao. So, yeah, and I don't think she was treated very well in that situation. And I don't know, I'm seeing a little bit of the same thing now, because while The Bone Temple is a really critically loved movie, I don't think it made a lot of money.
It came out too close to the other one, I think, to the last movie.
I think it was marketed poorly. I don't like the title, and that's not Nia DaCosta's fault at all, because we saw the title card and it was just The Bone Temple. But the studio said you have to put 28 years later in front of The Bone Temple because you need to tie it to the franchise. But what I heard is a lot of people thought it was the same movie that came out last year being re-released. So they didn't go see it.
They didn't differentiate the two enough, I think.
They did not. Not at all. And they're very different movies.
Our main focus is Jimmy and his little gang of mini Jimmies, and then Ray Fiennes hanging out at the Bone Temple doing his kind of experiments and stuff.
Yeah, and we have our little kid, Spike.
He's back from 28 years later.
He is, because he kind of got kidnapped by the Jimmies at the very end of the last movie.
He decided to join them, which was not the greatest choice. Yes. Yeah, maybe pressured to join, or they would probably kill him.
Yeah, because these Jimmies are sadistic.
Oh, they're psychos.
Like, I wasn't super aware that they would be that violent, because in the first one, I just thought they were kind of goofy little school bullies. They might beat someone up and steal their stuff, but I didn't think they would be tying people up and filleting their skin off. Well, I think their brutality is really established right at the beginning of the movie, because we see that they're forcing Spike to fight to the death with one of the other Jimmies.
Yeah, to join and maybe take his place if he wins.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that they do. And I remember early on, main Jimmy, oh, what was his name? It was like Jimmy Sparkle or Jimmy.
Yeah, like Sir Jimmy Sparkle. Or Lord Sir Jimmy Sparkle.
I don't know if
Jimmy
it was
Crystal.
Sparkle. Crystal. It was Jimmy Crystal. And Jimmy Crystal, he passively referred to them as fingers. And so I was trying to count them, and I was like, oh, can there only be 10 because of the fingers? But it was 7. And it becomes really apparent that Jimmy Crystal is just making all of this up as he goes along.
He's a mini little cult leader.
He is. And I'm like, he probably just found 7 of those ugly wigs
Yeah, he has this long blonde hair, so he makes all these teenagers and kids that he surrounds himself with wear blonde wigs as well.
And that's a good point that I didn't think about while watching the movie. But yeah, they all do seem like teenagers and kids. And he's older. He's got to be in his 30s.
At least, yeah.
So yeah, he's preying on vulnerable people who are more likely to just believe what he says and go along with it. Because yeah, you're right. He's a cult leader.
Really, they're just going around attacking settlements and innocent people. I think our main Jimmy, he's a bit of a, I guess you would call Satanist maybe. He thinks the devil is his father. He's a bit crazy.
And the thing is, I don't even know if he actually believes that.
Or maybe that's just the story he spins to keep these kids following him and in line.
But then he does talk about how he always hears the voice of his father, and at the end of the movie, he doesn't hear it anymore. So maybe he's like schizophrenic or something.
I would not be surprised.
Because, yeah, that can manifest as, oh, I'm hearing God or the devil or whatever.
Considering the backdrop is they're in like post-apocalyptic England or UK, just trying to survive. This isn't so much about the infected or zombies in 28 years later or in the 28 franchise.
Yeah, the main scary thing in this movie was definitely not zombies. It was people, and it was culty religion, because we even see Ralph Fiennes, he's befriending the biggest, baddest zombie of them all, and it's working.
Samson. He was awesome.
He was.
Yeah, Samson is a alpha infected from the last movie from 28 years later. Ralph Fiennes' character knows him. He will tranquilize him if he gets too close, but soon learns that there's a little bit of still some spark left to Samson. He's not completely mindless.
Yeah, and it seems like Ralph Fiennes is just happy to have a friend.
And he's a doctor, so he's trying experiments on Samson. He uses his tranquilizer darts on him to kind of sedate him so he can be near him and talk to him.
Yeah, and have him feel human.
Yeah, try to see if there's any humanity left in him.
Because Samson keeps coming back because he wants that feeling of the calm.
It was interesting. They had one brief scene where it's from Samson's point of view as he's chasing after a regular person, but in his eyes, it's shown, I guess the zombie virus makes him see regular people look like they're infected, and that's why he attacks them so viciously. They didn't really touch on that again in the movie, other than Ralph Fiennes kind of speculating, but I thought that was an interesting take.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting as well, because I feel like before that, it was just kind of zombies are zombie because virus. But now we get a little glimpse into how that virus exactly manifests for them. And these zombies, they're still human. They're not undead,
Right. Yeah, it's a kind of concurrent storylines. We have the Jimmys going around terrorizing people. Spike's there unwillingly, but he's trying to figure out how to survive. He befriends one of the Jimmys, or Jimmy Mina, one of the gal Jimmys.
No, Jim and Nina got murdered.
Oh, that's right. She
was the one with the, fairy wings?
That's right. I thought the more interesting part of this movie was everything to do with Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, see, I thought the opposite. I thought it was the Jimmy cult stuff.
I wanted more out of the cult stuff. They were so ridiculous and over the top at the very end of the last movie. I kind of wanted that more throughout, but it's more, and it's not wrong to portray that, no, this is a sadistic cult leader, and how Spike and some other characters deal with that and try to get away from that situation.
I wish, and massive spoiler here, I wish that Jimmy Crystal wasn't crucified, because I have to assume he's dead.
I would have to think so.
And the cult was disbanded, because I know this is going to be a trilogy, and I would have liked to see a through line with the cult, because if Samson is kind of neutralized and the cult is disbanded, what's our thing going to be in the third movie? I would have loved to see Jimmy Crystal and Cillian Murphy go at it,
Absolutely, yes. Because Cillian Murphy shows up at the end of the movie. He's living in his little secure house with his daughter, I believe.
Yeah.
And after the main events of the film, you have Spike and one of the Jimmies who kind of defected. I think actually everyone else is dead. Her name is Kelly, if I recall.
I think so.
They're running away from a horde of infected. So Cillian Murphy sees them running, going, okay, I'm going to help them. The movie ends there. So I'm assuming he'll be kind of the main focus on the third movie.
Yeah, because I feel like that's going to be the last of the franchise. So you really got to bring it all the way around.
Absolutely.
Because he is our original protagonist.
Fan favorite, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And I think the next movie is going to go back to Danny Boyle directing.
Okay.
Which I do find really interesting. And I hope that the trilogy can end cohesively, because that was a big problem with the latest Star Wars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there were other issues there, like not storyboarding before they started it and everything, and directors getting fired and such. But you had J.J. Abrams directing the first one and the last one. And then you had, the Knives Out guy.
Ryan.
Ryan Johnson directing The Last Jedi in the middle. And it felt really different from the others and had a really distinct style and tone, which I appreciated. Not everyone did. But what that ended up doing was making all three movies very disjointed. It was not a cohesive trilogy. And like plot points were getting dropped and things were getting retconned. And it was just weird. I'm hoping that won't be the case here, because I do believe Alex Garland is writing all of them.
Okay.
So at least the same writer would probably have continuity there.
We can hope.
But a big reason why I loved this movie was because Nia DaCosta really brought her own style to it. It didn't feel like one of the Danny Boyle movies. It wasn't doing kind of the shaky cam, quick cuts, all that stuff.
The core of the movie was not trying to survive the zombies and infected as in the other movies.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that with Danny Boyle coming back for the third one, that this trilogy doesn't feel disjointed.
I guess the biggest change or revelation from this film is showing that the infected can somehow sort of be cured.
Yeah, like that's gotta be how they try to end the whole thing, right? Here,
Like,
look, a cure.
Ray Fiennes develops a way to treat kind of like the psychosis factor of the infection on Samson, who begins speaking again. He remembers some times from his childhood before he was infected. He still has, I guess, some of the mutations from it possibly, but he's looking more normal again and I think can now speak clearly. I'm wondering if he's still like technically infected, but his mind is back. He's fighting off other zombies at the end there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he'll be a big factor in the third one. I would have to guess they're taking the story to this infection can be cured, because really they've just been living with it there for so long.
And I think that's probably why, or how Cillian Murphy is going to tie back into the story, because Ray Fiennes is dead now.
I thought he was the most interesting character as far as like his scenes were really well done when he was pretending, he was playing along with Jimmy to pretend to be Jimmy's dad, the devil. And he had the music going, he was singing covered in like soot and makeup and had those pyrotechnic effects.
Scene.
That was the best scene in the movie.
That was so good. Like, that's the fun, campy vibes.
I wanted more of that.
I got from the end of the last movie with the Jimmies.
I want to watch that ending scene from 28 years later and see like this is what I expected versus what we got, you know?
Yeah. I did still really like what we got, because I do think it is interesting to make them so brutal. And I just thought there were a lot of parallels there with some modern day cults and religions and all that.
Mm-hmm. There's some religious undertones in this as well. I think the main Jimmy's the son of a preacher.
Yes.
And of course he thinks he's the son of the devil.
Well, and I think it's interesting too that they killed him off, because the whole trilogy starts with his POV. It's like his prequel. as a little kid getting away from the zombies. And yeah, his dad was his dad even like a Catholic priest or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like his dad was a great religious figure. And so maybe if he already was dealing with mental illness, that's how, his dad and the devil got kind of meshed in his head.
It makes sense, yeah.
I really liked that Jimmy Crystal sat down with the other Jimmys and was essentially retelling a Teletubbies episode like it was folklore. That was fun.
Because all those kids are born after basically the apocalypse in the UK, where they haven't known the civilization prior.
Yeah, they've probably never seen a TV.
True, yeah, I never watched anything like that.
I think back on the first movie, there's a scene where Spike encounters like a military guy from Sweden or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the military guy still has his phone and he shows him a picture of his girlfriend and Spike's like, did she get stung by bees because she has lip filler? And those people, they've never seen anything like that. So it's wild to them that lip filler exists. And I thought that was actually really interesting narratively. And I like that we got stuff like that touched on a little more here.
I think Spike, for the most part in this movie, he's just spending his time trying to figure out, okay, I really made a mistake staying with this cult as long as I have. I need to get away from here.
Yeah, I didn't think he was in this movie as much as I expected him to be.
Right.
Because he's really the full protagonist of the first one. And this one, while we open with him, he felt more like a side character or a narrative device.
He did, for sure.
Than the actual protagonist. The protagonist was probably Ralph Fiennes.
I think so.
Whereas in the first one, he doesn't show up until partway through. He's kind of this mystical figure for everyone almost.
I really like we revisit the Bone Temple kind of setting. That's always interesting. He was very passionate about his bone buildings and structures he was making.
I thought that Bone Temple was going to come down by the end of the movie, and
still there.
I don't think it did. If anything, now Ralph Fiennes is going to be part of his Bone Temple, and also Jimmy Crystal and his crucifix.
I do think they started killing off all the Jimmys kind of quickly. Like I said before, I wanted to see more out of that group and just the chaos slash shenanigans.
We didn't really get much character development for any of the Jimmys.
Not really, no.
Except for maybe Kelly.
Right. Kelly is sort of seen through Jimmy Crystal's kind of BS and is wondering, like, why is he in charge? But yeah, I like this movie overall. It is always fun fleshing out this universe and having characters old and new come together. I'll be very curious to see what direction they try to take this in the last movie.
I agree. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure when the last movie will come out, though, because this one came out really soon after the last one.
It's pretty quick, yeah.
But I believe I heard that because this one didn't make as much money, they're not really fast-tracking the third one.
I guess they brought Cillian Murphy back at the end there, so hopefully they do make something out of this.
Oh yeah, I feel like they can't just not make it at this point.
Can't leave it there, of course. But we will see what happens. I'd almost be curious to see if they had gone in a different direction from the start, make this sort of, I guess you call it an anthology, like you have the same setting, but of the 28 years later universe, but the groups and people we see don't always have to overlap. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I have high hopes for this. I enjoyed this movie. I'd give this an 83%.
On Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 92%.
Ooh, even better. All right.
And I would say that's worth the hype. I did really like this movie.
Thumbs up. I agree.
It has an 88% as far as the audience score goes. So not too big of a difference there.
I hope this movie and franchise keeps enough momentum so they can really pull off the final act, you know?
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than having a big anticipated trilogy and the last one is trash.
Absolutely.
I feel like that happens a lot.
Since they have the same writer throughout, hopefully we can avoid that.
I've had my issues with Alex Garland.
Oh, yeah.
I did not like Warfare.
Neither did I.
And
We'll see.
Civil War was not my favorite either.
I liked Civil War more, but I think that's mostly because of Kirsten Dunst and Wagner and Kaylee
Yeah.
doing their things as photographers in that movie, less so than the actual Civil War part. Jesse Plemons was terrifying and probably should be in You'd Be Great in 28 Years Later, part 3.
I just don't think Alex Garland, a British man, understands what's going on in America enough to be making such America politics heavy movies.
To be fair, the Brits have had more civil wars than we had. Or English, I suppose.
Should have said it in England.
Fair enough.
Do you have any final thoughts about this week, about any of the Oscar movies we watched? How are you feeling about award season? I know the BAFTAs were yesterday.
I am holding out hope that Sinners will be the big winner, especially at the Oscars, but kind of throughout this season. Would you say it's kind of going head to head? Like our top 2 contenders may be one battle after another, and then Sinners, do you think we could throw in, this being for Best Picture, like a Marty Supreme, even The Secret Agent?
I think the only movies that have a shot at winning Best Picture are One Battle After Another and Sinners.
I hope it's Sinners. It's a great movie.
I hope it's Sinners too, and I still have a little hope that maybe, because it really overperformed at nominations, but after the BAFTAs yesterday, I mean, One Battle, it wins directing, it wins adapted screenplay, it wins picture, it wins editing, it wins cinematography, it even won supporting actor. I think that's a big overperformance.
True.
We'll have to see what happens at SAG.
I just thought One Battle was not as strong of a movie as I thought it was going to be.
It wasn't. I don't know if it got overhyped for me by the time I watched it, but I felt like it was too long. I felt like it became a car chase movie, which I didn't care for.
Yeah.
And I thought some of what it was trying to say was a little clunky. It wasn't bad.
Not at all, no. I understand why a lot of people do love it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good enough to be Best Picture for me. And I certainly don't want Sean Penn to win the Oscar. I think there were better performances in that category.
Hard agree.
Stellan should win. I really thought he was going to win last night. He didn't.
Me too.
I think he's only won the Golden Globe right now. And he's not even nominated at SAG. SAG really didn't like Sentimental Value.
I guess not.
They didn't nominate any of them.
I really liked at the BAFTAs last night, young Ned Stark winning, Best Actor?
Oh yeah, Best Actor.
It was great. He gave a great speech and his family was there. That was sweet.
Yeah, so now Best Actor, like we don't really have any indication post BAFTA for Best Actor.
Yeah, because he won for a movie
not nominated at the Oscars.
That we haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie, and it's not nominated at the Oscars, so he's not going to win there, you know?
Yeah.
I still think Timothée Chalamet is going to win Best Actor. I think he'll definitely win SAG. I think they like him over at SAG. He won SAG last year.
True.
So I really don't see that going to anyone else. He won Critics' Choice. Didn't he win Golden Globe as well?
I think so.
Yeah. So
We'll
I
see.
think he's got it in the bag, honestly.
It could be anyone's game.
I don't think
know.
the BAFTAs are going to sway that.
Wagner's going to make a surprise performance.
The win for Wagner is the nomination.
True.
And good for him. I love him.
That's his first nomination, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Timothy can wait. Michael B. Jordan will be nominated twice because he played twins in Sinners, of course.
I mean, sometimes the Oscars do like to make a young man wait.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happened to Leo, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Gotta take your lumps first.
Mm-hmm. Whereas I think a lot of times with Best Actress, they'll give it to like the new 20-something-year-old ingenue.
Yeah, who's in the spotlight just
Yeah.
at that time.
Exactly. But, we've kind of stepped away from that a little bit in recent years. So we'll see what's happening because the Academy's changed a lot.
What do you think's taking Best Picture?
I really, in my heart, want to say Sinners, but my head says One Battle After Another.
Okay. Probably Paul Thomas Anderson will get director
Yeah,
I thought Ryan Coogler won for best. Was it original or adapted screenplay at
original.
BAFTAs?
And I think he will win for original screenplay at the Oscars too,
No
because One
doubt.
Battle After Another is adapted.
True. Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
I think that's our original and adapted winners right there.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe not another movie, but maybe like a side story, comics or graphic novels based off of the Sinner's world that he made.
That movie made so much money, there is no way that gets left on the table.
They set it up too at the end of Sinners where you have that time skip where Michael B. Jordan is a vampire with his girlfriend. It's now like 1990s, something like that.
It did feel like a bit of a sequel bait.
Like they're gonna fill in some of that or continue their story on from there, maybe into the modern world. So
That would
we
be
shall
cool.
see.
Yeah. Another recent Oscar movie that we watched. Man, did I love The Ugly Stepsister.
What a film!
We had some body horror elements going on. It's nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, which, very fair nomination. It was really good.
And that was what was it Norwegian?
I believe so, yeah.
It's a retelling of Cinderella, which I never realized Cinderella wasn't actually the gal's name. As you told me.
No, they're bullying her because she has cinders all over her face from all the cleaning.
This is a great movie. It's told from the perspective of the ugly stepsister and all the lengths she is going to kind of alter herself and her body to marry the prince. It's not too like gory, but it's gruesome and makes you squeamish sometimes. She gets her nose rebroken to try to fix it, and I almost thought we were going to see more when they're taking her braces off and she's, yelling and crying, but we're not seeing any close up teeth action, which would have been hard to watch.
Let me tell you, I could relate.
It got you pretty good when they were putting on the fake eyelashes
Yeah.
and sewing that into her eyelids.
Yeah,
Gnarly.
it should win makeup for that alone. I don't know if it will since it's a single nomination. I don't remember what all is nominated for makeup actually, but it'll probably go to something in the Best Picture lineup. But I believe I've now seen. Oh no, there's one more makeup movie I need to see. I need to see
What's that?
Kakuo.
What is Kakuo?
I think it's a 3-hour long movie about
Oh.
kabuki theater.
I mean, sounds interesting. Doesn't need to be 3 hours.
Does any movie need to be 3 hours?
Lord of the Rings. No, not even that, actually.
They could have broken it up into a TV show.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
But yeah, The Ugly Stepsister, it reminded me a lot of my favorite movie, Raw.
I think it took inspiration from that in some bits.
It did. Yeah, I read the director saying that.
There's this scene at the end, spoilers, but if you've come this far, where she has not married the prince, but she had swallowed a tapeworm to try to get her weight down, and now it's time to get rid of the tapeworm. She starts throwing it up. Her sister starts trying to help pull out the tapeworm out of her mouth and keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. You were like looking through at the TV through clasped hands.
I thought she was gonna end up like pulling organs out with it or
Oh,
something.
I didn't think about that. It's just a big old tapeworm.
Yeah, it was just a big old tapeworm.
It was real gross. Everyone gave a great performance in
Oh,
Ugly
yeah.
Stepsister, especially the main gal. Definitely went through it. Some hardcore scenes, and she seemed pretty young, so I'm excited to see what else we'll see from kind of that cast and that director, really.
Yeah, same. Yeah, this director's next movie, I'm in. I'll watch it.
But if you want it's not scary or anything, but a fun movie to watch with your friends, make sure you're all old enough. But it's a good grab your popcorn and just want to yell at the TV about how gross and fun it is.
You
Ugly
might not want to
Stepsister.
eat during this.
Ooh, maybe. What would be the best snack for Ugly Stepsister?
Well, we ate Taco Bell while we watched The Ugly Stepsister, so
don't
that
know.
was certainly a choice.
Gummy worms, maybe.
Gummy worms.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it at the very least definitely earned that makeup nomination.
Yeah.
Good for them.
So, The Ugly Stepsister is my favorite movie that I watched this week, but as far as our 2 Rotten Tomatoes movies go, 28 years later, Bone Temple.
Absolutely, yes. Shorter week, but we had some strong ones and good performances, and like we said, with 28 years later, excited to see where they're going to take it to wrap it up.
Absolutely. And with that, we're signing off.
It's a quick one, but I hope y'all enjoyed.
Until next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.